I am 75 years old, and if there is anything that has taken more life from me than the years, it has been insomnia. For more than 2 decades, sleeping well was like winning the lottery for me, something I knew existed, but that never happened to me. I remember those endless nights when I tossed and turned in bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sleep to come. But it did not come. The silence grew heavier and heavier, and the mind would not stop. Thoughts, memories, worries, and that constant feeling of tiredness that does not let you rest. In the mornings, I opened my eyes with no energy. I got up as if I had not slept at all. Some days I did not even feel like getting out of bed. And although I tried to keep active, little by little I began to notice it. More aches, more forgetfulness, less spirit. I tried everything. Teas, herbal infusions, breathing exercises, and yes, pills too. Some helped for one night. Others left me even more confused. And in the end, none solved the problem at its root. Until one day, a neighbor shared a tip so simple it seemed ridiculous to me. Have you tried giving yourself a foot massage with oil before going to sleep? At first I laughed. I thought it was nonsense, but that night I tried it. And what happened afterward changed my life. I slept as I had not in years, without waking up every hour, without anxiety, without that mental noise that exhausted me so much. The next day, I felt different. And since then, I have not been the same. That is why I am here. Because I know there are people like me, people who feel they will never sleep well again. Today I want to tell you exactly how I do the massage, which oil I use, why it works, and what science says behind all of this. It is not magic. It is a habit, and it can be yours too. Do you also have trouble sleeping? Tell me in the comments, how old are you and from which country or city are you watching me? I'm sure this story can help you, or at least help you sleep better tonight. The problem? Why sleeping well after 60 is so difficult. Sleeping well should not be a luxury, but when you pass 60, it becomes a challenge. The curious thing is that no one prepares you for this. Simply, one night you stop sleeping as before, and it is never the same again. With age, our body changes on the inside, even if on the outside we feel the same. One of the most important changes has to do with melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. As we grow older, the natural production of melatonin decreases, and that makes falling asleep slower, lighter, and more fragile. As if that were not enough, other changes also occur. The bladder becomes more sensitive, which makes us get up more times during the night. The joints hurt more, the mattress seems less comfortable, and any noise or small light can keep us awake. And then there is anxiety. Yes, although it sounds strange, many older people experience a kind of quiet anxiety right at the end of the day. Sometimes from fear of not sleeping, other times from thoughts that appear just when turning off the light. Memories, losses, worries, unanswered questions. And all of that mixes in the mind just when we most need inner silence. According to several medical studies, more than 50% of adults over 65 years old present significant sleep disturbances. It is not a small figure. It is more than half. And yet most accept it as something normal, as if there were nothing to be done. But sleeping poorly, night after night, does not only take away energy, it also takes away life. Prolonged insomnia in older people is linked to a higher risk of hypertension, heart disease, falls, cognitive decline, and even depressive states. Not sleeping weakens the body, drains the mood, and clouds the mind. And although many think it is part of old age, it really should not be. Sleeping well is a biological necessity, a need that does not disappear with the years, but quite the opposite. It becomes more important. So if you also feel that when night falls, the battle begins, you are not alone. And the most important thing, you do not have to resign yourself. Sleeping badly is not normal. It is common, yes, but it has a solution, and many times that solution is closer than we imagine. In this video, we are going to walk together along a simple, natural, and powerful path. One that starts from the feet, but can lead you to quieter, more restorative nights. Because it does not matter how old you are. We all deserve to sleep in peace. The solution no one expects is in the feet. Who would have thought that something as simple as a foot massage could change so many nights of my life? Whenever we talk about sleeping better, we think of pills, exercises, breathing techniques, but we rarely think about the feet. And yet the feet, yes, those we almost always ignore, are one of the oldest and most powerful keys to inducing deep rest. This idea is not new. In fact, it goes back thousands of years. In Ayurvedic medicine, born in India more than 5,000 years ago, it is believed that massaging the feet every night before sleep not only relaxes the body, but harmonizes vital energy. In traditional Chinese medicine, the feet are seen as the complete map of the body. Each area of the foot is connected to an organ, a system, or a function. Massaging certain points not only improves sleep, it also regulates the heart, the lungs, the liver. And in modern reflexology, a technique that continues to gain ground in the West, it has been shown that applying pressure to specific areas of the foot can have real positive effects on the nervous system. It is not a coincidence. It is not superstition. It is anatomy. The feet contain thousands of nerve endings that connect directly with the brain and the rest of the body. By stimulating them with a massage, the parasympathetic system is activated, the one responsible for the body entering rest mode. Heart rate decreases, blood pressure drops, the accelerated brain activity diminishes. In other words, the body receives the signal that it is time to let go and sleep. And I'm not the only one saying it. Since I shared this practice with other people my age, I have heard testimonies that give me goosebumps. A friend, Claire, 78 years old, who suffered from nighttime anxiety since she was widowed, told me, "The foot massage was like a caress for the soul. For the first time in years, I slept without waking up crying." A neighbor, Mr. Peter, 81, with chronic pain in his legs, told me that by the third day of doing the massage with sandalwood oil, not only did he sleep better, but he woke up with less stiffness. The most beautiful thing is that you do not need to be an expert. There is no need to go to a spa or have a massage table or spend a fortune. You only need your hands, a little oil, and a few minutes of self-care every night. Because the body stores tensions, and it stores them in the feet. Walking a whole life, carrying the weight of the years, supporting every step, leaves marks. And sometimes, those marks only need to be touched with respect and awareness in order to begin to heal. Sleep is not always in the head. Sometimes, it begins in the feet. Why does a foot massage induce sleep? No, it is not magic. It is biology well used. Although it may seem incredible, the feet are connected with almost our entire body. Each one contains more than 7,000 nerve endings, and those endings are not there by chance. They are small highways that send information to the brain constantly. When we stimulate them gently and mindfully, as we do during a massage, the body interprets a very clear signal. It is time to relax. All of this has to do with the autonomic nervous system. This system is the one that regulates, without our thinking about it, functions such as breathing, heart rhythm, digestion, and also the state of alertness or relaxation. Within this system, there are two modes. One is the sympathetic, which is activated when we are on alert, worried, stressed, or in danger. And the other is the parasympathetic, which turns on when it is time to rest, digest, sleep, or heal. What the foot massage does is activate the parasympathetic system. By pressing certain areas and moving the stagnant energy in the feet, the body understands that there is no danger, that everything is fine, that it can lower its defenses and surrender to rest. This is not a new invention. It is supported by many modern studies that have investigated the effects of reflexology, a technique that consists precisely of massaging specific points on the foot to influence different organs of the body. In one of those studies, carried out at a university in South Korea with older people who suffered from chronic insomnia, foot reflexology was applied 3 times a week for 1 month. The results were surprising. Not only did the duration of sleep increase, but its quality also improved. Participants woke up fewer times per night and took less time to fall asleep. Another study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine showed that a foot massage of just 10 minutes was enough to reduce levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. Less cortisol, more rest, and there is more. It has also been observed that conscious physical contact, as occurs in a massage, helps release oxytocin, a hormone related to calm, trust, and emotional well-being. It is the same hormone released when we hug someone dear or when we feel protected, and that, in older people who often sleep alone, can make a big difference. So no, it is not placebo. It is not a magic trick either. It is science. And the best of all is that it is within everyone's reach. A simple foot massage can send a clear message to the brain. You no longer need to fight. You no longer need to be on alert. Now you can rest. And that message, when it arrives night after night, changes the way the body sleeps, and also how it wakes. Sleeping should not be a battle. And sometimes, the peace we search for so much up there begins down below, in the feet. The oil, what I use, how I discovered it, and why it works. For years I thought oils were only for cooking. It never occurred to me that one of them would end up being the secret to sleeping deeply, like when I was young. But life has curious ways of showing us what we really need. One afternoon, while talking with my neighbor Claire, a wise 78-year-old woman who has always trusted natural remedies, I told her that I still could not sleep well, despite the foot massage. The touch relaxed me, yes, but something was missing. That was when she said to me, "Use lavender oil. Just a few drops before going to bed and you will see the difference." I thought she was exaggerating, but I know her well. Claire is not one to talk just to talk. So the next day, I went to the neighborhood herbal shop. The owner, an older gentleman too, told me I was not the first person to ask for lavender oil to sleep. He showed me several, but I chose a simple one, pure, without blends, without artificial fragrances. That night, I warmed a few drops between my hands, rubbed them gently, and began to massage my feet, as I had already learned. I did it slowly, patiently, as if speaking to my body without words. What I felt, I did not expect. First came the aroma, soft, sweet, as if it wrapped me in an invisible blanket of calm. Then, while I pressed certain points on my feet, I noticed that the fatigue loosened. And when I lay down, for the first time in a long time, my mind was not spinning. It was at peace. I slept like a baby. There is no other way to say it. Since then, that bottle of lavender oil is part of my nightstand. But it is not the only one I have tried. Over time, I discovered other oils that also work wonderfully well. Sesame oil, for example, which in Ayurvedic medicine is considered warm, protective, and deeply relaxing. It has a thicker texture, which allows for slower massages, ideal for calming nerves and joints. Eucalyptus oil, on the other hand, has a more refreshing aroma, perfect for nights when one feels congested or with muscle aches. I have also tried chamomile oil, highly recommended for people with anxiety or emotional sensitivity. The important thing, more than the exact type of oil, is that it be natural, cold-pressed if possible, and that it not contain synthetic fragrances that can irritate the skin or the nose. Each oil has its properties. Some help relax the muscles, others improve circulation, and many also act through smell, thanks to what is known as aromatherapy. When we inhale certain aromas, they reach directly to the limbic system of the brain, where emotions and sleep are regulated. That is, a good aroma not only smells good, it also calms from within. But there is another equally important detail. The skin of the feet absorbs easily, and when you apply oil in that area, the natural compounds penetrate and act within a few minutes. It is like giving the body a gentle sedative without needing to swallow pills or set alarms to remember the dose. Today, I cannot imagine my nights without this ritual. The oil, the touch, the aroma, everything becomes a silent dance that prepares me to let go of the day and embrace rest. And the best of all is that it has no side effects, only benefits. That is how I went from fighting against insomnia to inviting sleep gently. And it all began with a small bottle, some warm drops, and the decision to take care of myself. Step by step, how to massage your feet properly before bed. One of the most beautiful things I learned when I incorporated this habit into my life is that the body appreciates small rituals. There is no need to do anything complicated or painful, only to be present, care for the details, and let rest come by itself. Here I will share exactly how I do my massage every night. Step by step, without hurry, with care. First, the preparation. Before I begin, I make sure my feet are clean. Sometimes I wash them with warm water and a little mild soap. Not only for hygiene, but because the heat of the water relaxes the skin and opens the pores, which allows the oil to penetrate better. After drying them with a soft towel, I look for a comfortable place. It can be the bed, an armchair, or even a rug on the floor. The important thing is that you are at peace, without interruptions, without cold or bothersome noises. Lighting is also key. I prefer a dim lamp or even a candle, something that tells my body it is time to unwind, that the day is over. Once I am ready, I place the bottle of oil in my hands. I generally use between 8 and 10 drops per foot. That is enough. We do not want to drench them, only to cover the surface with a light, warm layer. The massage begins with slow, broad movements. First, I rub both hands over the entire foot, from the toes to the heel, as if caressing it. This activates circulation and prepares the tissues. Then, with my thumbs, I press gently on certain key areas. For example, just below the big toe, in the central part of the foot, there is a point that, according to reflexology, is connected with the brain. Massaging it for 1 minute helps calm the mind and release racing thoughts. I also dedicate time to the arch, that hollow part that sometimes feels tense. There I apply circular pressure with firm movements, but without pain. The goal is to release, not to punish. The heels, for their part, tend to accumulate stiffness. I massage them by making small circles with my knuckles or simply pressing with an open palm. Each toe also deserves attention. I stretch them one by one, gently, and I finish the massage at the ankle, making circular movements that connect the foot with the rest of the leg. The ideal duration of the massage is between 5 and 10 minutes per foot, not less, so that it has a real effect, not more, so that it does not become tiring. But there is no rigid rule. If one night you need more time, listen to yourself. And here comes the golden tip. Do not do it just to check a box. Do not turn this moment into one more task on the list. Do it mindfully. While you massage, breathe deeply. Feel the texture of the oil, the warmth of your hands, the response of your body. Do not think about what you did today or what you will do tomorrow. Just be there, with yourself. That is what makes the difference. Because it is not only about touching your feet, it is about touching yourself with respect, giving yourself space, telling your body it is loved, even in silence. And when you do it with that intention, something beautiful happens. Sleep does not take long to come. Because the body, when it feels heard, lets go. And when it lets go, it rests. Make this moment your sacred ritual, not out of obligation, but because you deserve it. What I felt after a week of doing it every night. I do not know on which exact night it happened. Maybe it was the 4th or the 5th. But one day, without realizing it, I woke up with a different feeling. I felt rested, calm, as if my body had said to me, "This time you slept well." For years that did not happen to me. I slept in pieces. I woke up with a start. I felt that the night rolled over me, but I did not truly rest. I always got up heavy, with a foggy head and a body as if it had worked all night. But since I started massaging my feet with oil every night, everything changed. At first it was subtle. The first night I felt more relaxed when going to bed. The second I fell asleep a little faster. The third, I woke up only once. And then, sleep began to come on its own, like an expected visitor. Deep sleep does not only feel like physical rest, it feels like coming home, as if the body at last found a safe place to let go. And that was what I began to feel every night. Safety. Silence. Certainty that I could close my eyes without fear of tossing and turning in bed. But the changes were not only during the night, they also appeared upon waking. I got up with more energy. I do not mean with euphoria. I am not a 20-year-old. But yes, with clarity. Without that weight in my eyes, without that neck pain, without the need to drag my feet to the kitchen. And that made my mornings different. I started to have breakfast with more appetite, to move better, to feel that the day had a firmer foundation. And that changes everything. Another thing I noticed was a decrease in nighttime anxiety. Before, when the afternoon arrived, I already began to feel that knot in my chest, that quiet worry of knowing that night was coming and that insomnia was waiting for me. But when you turn the nighttime routine into a care ritual, the body begins to trust. The simple act of preparing the oil, of sitting in silence, of feeling the warmth in my hands, was already enough to calm me. It was like telling my mind, that is it. Tonight you will be able to sleep too. And the most curious thing was what happened with my legs. For years I suffered from nighttime pains, that bothersome sensation that creeps up the calves, the knees, as if the bones were protesting the weight of the day. But after a week of nightly massages, that pain went down, a lot. It did not disappear completely, but it no longer woke me up. It no longer forced me to change position every half hour. The legs were looser, lighter, as if the oil did not only relax the skin, but also what was trapped inside. And perhaps the most important thing was this: insomnia stopped being torture. Before, I slept with fear. Fear of not sleeping, fear of the clock, fear of the early dawn. Now, sleep finds me without my seeking it. I no longer fight the night. I welcome it calmly. And that, for me, is a priceless gift. It may seem little, a massage, an oil, a few minutes of attention. But when it is repeated every night with intention and care, it becomes medicine. A medicine that is not sold in pharmacies, that has no side effects, that needs no prescription, only consistency and kindness. After a week, I understood that it is not about sleeping for sleep's sake. It is about how you fall asleep, with what body, with what mind. And since I began this ritual, every night ends as it should end, in peace. Which oils work best for insomnia and which to avoid? Not all oils are the same, and when it comes to sleeping better, the choice of oil can make the difference between a quiet night and another spent tossing in bed. After trying several and talking with natural therapists and other older adults like me, I can tell you with certainty which oils help most when what you seek is to rest deeply. Here I share them, so that you too can find the one that best accompanies you each night. First, lavender essential oil. It is the classic of classics, not because of fashion, but because of real results. Lavender has a proven calming effect on the nervous system. It helps slow heart rate, relax muscles, and prepare the mind to enter a state of rest. Its aroma is soft, floral, non-intrusive, ideal for sensitive people or those who usually wake easily. I use it several times a week, and so far, it has never failed me. Second, chamomile oil. If lavender is like a caress, chamomile is like a grandmother's lullaby. It has anti-inflammatory, soothing, and anxiolytic properties. It is excellent for those who, like me, sometimes come to bed with a tight stomach or a clenched chest. In addition, its aroma is very subtle, almost like a warm infusion, perfect for those who cannot tolerate strong scents at night. Third, sandalwood oil. This is a denser oil with a deep, earthy aroma. Some describe it as the smell of tranquility. It has relaxing effects on the mind and the respiratory system, and it has been used for centuries in meditation rituals. I choose it on cold nights or when I feel my mind is very active. It is as if it anchored me, brought me down to earth, and helped me release unnecessary thoughts. Fourth, Sesame oil. It is not an essential oil, but a base. It is thick, warm, and in Ayurvedic medicine, it is considered one of the most nourishing oils for the nervous system. Ideal for long massages, especially if you have joint or muscle pains. You can use it alone or as a base to mix a few drops of lavender or chamomile. In addition, it is well tolerated by almost all skin types, even the most mature or sensitive. Fifth, bergamot oil. This citrus oil is a little-known gem. It has a fresh aroma, but not a stimulating one. It helps balance emotions, relieve sadness, and generate a sense of well-being before sleep. It is perfect for those who reach the end of the day with emotional weight or melancholy. That said, it should be used only at night, since it can make the skin more sensitive to the sun. Now then, there are oils it is best to avoid, especially if you are sensitive or if you have sleep problems. Oils that are too mentholated or stimulating, such as peppermint, eucalyptus, or rosemary, can be counterproductive. Although they are good for clearing the airways or activating the mind during the day, at night they can keep you in an unnecessary state of alert. I also do not recommend oils with artificial fragrances or blends with alcohol. Many times they irritate the skin, cause headache, or even alter sleep rhythm. Always look for pure oils, cold-pressed, without unnecessary additives. And here is an important tip. Before using any new oil, test one drop on your wrist. Leave it on for 20 minutes and observe how your skin reacts. If there is no irritation, itching, or discomfort, you can use it with more confidence. Our body changes with the years, and what we tolerated at 50 may not suit us the same at 70. Finally, the best oil is the one you feel as your own. Do not be guided only by what works for others. Try, feel, choose. Your body will tell you which one speaks its language. What I did in addition to the massage that helped improve my sleep. Although the foot massage was what switched on the change, over time I understood that sleep is like a delicate plant. To grow strong, it needs more than one thing. The oil and the massage were the seed, but there were other habits that helped it truly blossom. The first thing I did was create a fixed bedtime routine. For many years I went to bed when I felt sleepy, or when I could not take it anymore. Sometimes it was 11, other times 1 in the morning. There was no schedule, no order. But the body, especially with the years, needs predictability. It needs to know that at a certain time, everything turns off and prepares to rest. So I began to set a fixed time. In my case, 10:30 at night. Not too early, not too late. Enough so that the body had time to power down calmly. 1 hour before sleep, I start my ritual for closing the day. I do not call it a routine out of habit, but out of affection, because that moment became something I look forward to, that I enjoy, that gives me back peace. In that ritual, there is something I eliminated for good. Screens. The television, the cell phone, the tablet. All of that turns off 1 hour before sleep. At first it was hard. I would say to myself, just 5 more minutes to read the news, or I am going to watch this short video before bed. But every time I did it, sleep moved farther away. The light from screens tricks the brain. It tells it that it is still daytime, and that interrupts the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep. It does not matter if the content is calm or interesting. The screen by itself already alters things. So I made a decision. Starting at 9:30, my home enters rest mode. Dim light, no television, no newscasts, only soft music or silence. In that silence, I began to try something else. Deep breathing. I am not an expert in meditation or yoga. I never was. But I discovered that breathing slowly, consciously, for 5 minutes makes an immense difference. I sit on the bed, close my eyes, and do this. I inhale through my nose, counting to 4. I hold the air inside, counting to 4. And I exhale through my mouth, counting to 6. I repeat it 5 times, sometimes more, and always, always. Something changes. The mind loosens, the heart rate slows, the muscles release their resistance. I also tried guided meditations. Some nights I simply listen to a soft voice inviting me to relax the body, part by part. Other times I repeat a word in silence, like peace, calm, or thank you. It is not about emptying the mind. It is about accompanying it toward rest, instead of forcing it to sleep. And here is something that may sound simple, but was key for me: the bedroom light. I changed the bedside lamp for a warm tone one, no cold or white lights. And when I am already in bed, I close the curtains completely, without letting a single ray in. Darkness, when it is complete, tells the body, it is time. I also began to use more comfortable sleepwear, soft fabric, no tight seams, no bothersome tags. Everything counts, everything adds up. The body, at our age, values the details that we used to take for granted. Now then, I will be honest. Of all I tried, the most powerful is still the massage. Yes, all of these things help, a lot. But the massage was the true catalyst. That moment when you touch yourself with respect, take time for yourself, and give yourself permission to let the day go. That is where real rest begins. It is as if the body needed a signal, a gesture that says, you can lower your guard now. And that gesture, for me, is that nighttime massage, with oil, in silence, unhurried. If you also suffer from insomnia, I invite you to try these little things. Not all at once. Start with one, then add another, and another. And you will see how little by little your night transforms. Sleeping well is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And although we have been told that with age we sleep worse, I discovered that this is not a sentence. It is a belief. And beliefs, when changed with love, can also heal. What I wish I had known 20 years ago. If I could sit in front of myself from 20 years ago, with a tired face, eyes swollen from not sleeping, and that pill bottle on the nightstand, I would take my hands calmly and say, there is another way. Because if something weighs on me when I look back, it is having trusted for so long that the only solution for sleep was to swallow a pill. Every night the same, the white box, the glass of water, and that resigned thought, I do not want to depend on this, but I have no choice. And yes, I know, at the time it seemed necessary. Insomnia can be a quiet desperation. You end up alone in the night, while the world sleeps, and the body begs for rest. But what I wish I had known then is that many times insomnia is not an illness, but a message. A call from the body saying, you are accumulating too much tension, too much noise, too much disconnection from yourself. What I needed was not to silence that message with medication. What I needed was to listen. And sadly, no one told me that. Not the doctor at the health center, nor the nurse, nor even other older adults. Because for years we have been told that with age you sleep badly, that it is normal, that there is nothing to be done. And as a society, we got used to medicalizing insomnia without asking ourselves why it is there. I do not want to be unfair. I know doctors do what they can, and that pills in certain cases are necessary. But I also know that the health system is often in a hurry, and in that rush, it forgets the body as a whole. They prescribe something to help us sleep, but they do not ask us how we live, what we feel, what we eat, what rituals we have at the end of the day. And that is where we lose something very valuable, the opportunity to heal naturally. The foot massage, the warm oil, the slow breathing, none of that was offered to me on a prescription. But it was those small practices that, finally, gave me back sleep. I wish I had known it earlier. I wish someone had told me that the body, when it feels cared for, rests on its own. That sleeping is not a struggle, but an act of surrender. And that is why today I share this experience with you. Because perhaps you, on the other side, are beginning to feel that sleep no longer comes as before. Perhaps you go to bed with a crowded mind, with a restless heart, with heavy legs. And what I want to tell you is this: you are not alone, and not everything is resolved with a pill. There are gentler paths, more loving, more your own. Walking that path requires no money and no degrees, only willingness, consistency, and the desire to listen to yourself. If I had known it 20 years ago, perhaps I would have saved myself many dawns of frustration. But today at 75, I can tell you something for sure. It is never too late to start sleeping well, and it is never too late to trust your own body again. If you have made it this far, thank you. From the heart, thank you for giving me your time, your attention, and above all, your trust. Because talking about insomnia is not only talking about sleepless nights, it is talking about what we carry inside, about what we keep quiet, about what we drag along. And if you too have gone through endless nights, through pillows that do not console, through clocks that march on mercilessly, then this video was for you. Because you are not alone. Because so many older people feel the same. And we also deserve to find rest. True rest. Today I shared something very personal with you. A simple ritual, but full of meaning. Massaging my feet with oil changed my relationship with sleep. But more than that, it taught me to care for myself again. Not to consider the night a lost cause. Not to believe that because you are 70 or 80, there is nothing left but resignation. Sleeping well is possible, even if you have not done so in years, even if you have tried everything. And if this video awakened in you some hope, some memory, some emotion, I would love to know. Tell me in the comments how many years old you are, and from which country you are watching me, because we are a community. And the more we know about one another, the more we can help, understand, and accompany each other. Tell me too, what do you do to sleep better? Have you ever tried oils? Do you have any routine that works for you? Your words can be the nudge someone else needs. And if you know someone, a relative, a friend, a neighbor, who also has trouble sleeping, share this video with them. Perhaps they will discover something that changes their life, as it did mine. There are no magic formulas here, only real, sincere, tried and true experiences, and a deep wish to live these years with more peace, more rest, and more self-love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you above all for not giving up. See you very soon in another video, where we will continue sharing wisdom, care, and that beautiful way of growing older, awake, but well rested.